We continue to follow breaking news out of Utah, where political activist Charlie Kirk has been shot and killed this afternoon. He was speaking at an event at Utah Valley University. In the last hour, we also learned that the person investigators had in custody has now been released, meaning that the shooter is still at large. Elected officials on both sides of the aisle have condemned the attack, denouncing acts of political violence. President Trump was the one who broke the news that Kirk had died. On Truth Social, he said no one understood the heart of the youth in our country better than Kirk. He also said his sympathies go to Kirk's wife and family. North Carolina Governor Josh Stein posted this on X about an hour before the news that Kirk had died. He said, in part, "We can never tolerate or become numb to political violence. Our nation is weaker when people are afraid to share their opinions or disagree." We are joined now by Mayor Nancy Vaughn. We had asked her to come in for an Ask the Mayor segment long before the shooting has happened, but since this has happened at a political event with a political figure, I know you have thoughts on what happened.
Absolutely. What happened was incredibly tragic, and my heart goes out to the Kirk family and friends. I agree with President Trump and Governor Stein. I think they said it well, that violence like this can't be tolerated anywhere. He was on a college campus and ironically happened to be talking about gun violence in answer to a question as he was shot. We are not this. This is not our country. We have to do better.
And with that, I mean, doing better means that all of us are taking part in the political process. This is happening as an election season is now getting underway. In fact, we brought Mayor Vaughn in because this Friday is the voter registration deadline for our primary. The next Thursday, early voting begins and goes through October the 4th. And so requests for absentee ballots are going to have to happen before September 23rd. The primary election day is October the 7th. And this is your way of being able to take a stand and to be able to have your voice heard. Right now, a race to watch is the Greensboro Mayor's race because, of course, Mayor Vaughn is stepping down. 4 candidates are coming to compete for her seat. And so when we look at those candidates vying for the seat, we have former Mayor Robbie Perkins, former District Court Judge Mark Cummings, Mayor Pro Tem Mary Kay Abuzawader, and Dr. Akir Khan. Votes will narrow the field on October the 7th with the primary, the general election scheduled for November the 4th. So, you know, as we are looking at this, you're in your final months of office. You're looking at 82 days, not that she's counting. You're looking at the direction of the city in the future. What do you want these next leaders to keep in mind?
So I do want to say something first. Not enough people vote in city council elections. Last time, 16.2% of our residents voted. We have to do better. I hope that lots of people will show up and make their voices heard. From my perspective, what I think is really important for the next council, and I playfully say, don't screw it up. We've had amazing economic development announcements. We're really going in a good direction. But we need to really focus on housing and workforce development to make sure that we continue to grow in the right direction.
All right, so we're going to be talking about some things, but we also want to know that she's going to be taking your questions as well. And so you can text in your questions for Mayor Vaughn. The number is there on your screen, 336-379-5775. That number will also be at the bottom of the screen as we work through our conversation. And so coming up tomorrow is the funeral for Joseph McNeel, playing a huge role in the city history and also as well in civil rights history.
Absolutely, and he lived an amazing life beyond what happened at the Woolworths counter. But what amazes me about the men who went to Woolworths and sat down is they were young. They were 17 to 19 years old. What he did at such a young age really shaped the civil rights movement moving on. It is a time that we are very proud of in the city of Greensboro, and his legacy will be remembered for generations to come. And it's amazing what those 4 did and the impact that they had on an entire country.
Yeah, when you see their picture, right, they're dressed in those coats and those hats, and that was the dress at the time. So, you know, people may look at them and say, oh, they're adults, but they were teenagers who had that kind of courage.
They were freshmen at North Carolina A&T who really just wanted, I don't even know if they intended to make the impact that they did. but they were doing what they knew was right. And it's really hard to believe that, these individuals made such a huge impact on our entire country.
Right. And so that memorial service is tomorrow at 2. It goes from 2 until 4. And you're going to be able to watch it right here on WFMY News 2 and our Plus channel as well.